again, in this stretch of games, pleased with the effort that we played with, and the that was a hard fought game again, but unfortunately just not able to make enough of the winning plays that you need to make, be it a 2-point basket, an open 3-point basket, getting a critical stop and rebound when you need it. I thought the game turned in the last 3 minutes of the first half and the first 3 minutes of the second half. I thought our defensive intensity and even our offensive execution, even though only up 8, could have been up more because we didn't make enough of those shots. For the first 16 minutes, 15 minutes of the first half was really, really good. Then unfortunately we let Horn get loose in a transition play, just not as much communication as you need, and then Griffin got loose in the transition play. Then a couple turnovers that led to layups, and now right back in the game, and we didn't finish the half as well as we needed to. And then start the second half, get a stop to start it, miss a shot at the basket on our next possession, and then I think they scored 5 or 6 straight points. Kind of got it under control after that, but just never after that 6-8 point game, critical stop, down 6, get a stop and give up an offensive rebound for a putback. At the free throw line, I don't know exactly the time, but chance to cut it to 6 and then try to get a stop, and we missed 2 straight. So in a lot of ways, Carbon very similar to the other night, just not able to make the plays that need to be made. And it's frustrating because the guys got good looks. We got good looks inside and good looks outside. But during that one stretch, we didn't defend as well as we need to if we're not making those shots, and that's always the challenge.
Coach, Sam played 16 minutes today, but he only got 1 shot attempt. Is that him just not being aggressive enough, or his teammates not finding him?
It wouldn't be the second one. They're going to be in the zone, a little bit more the whole game, more or less. Mm-hmm. And he got to the free throw line 1 time, so that's would be a second shot attempt probably, right? But it's a little different in terms of attacking the zone. With some cuts and flashes, just didn't get as many opportunities to shoot the ball today.
Coach, like you talked about, that middle 4 minutes at the end of the first half, 4 minutes second half, you go from 27-27, they go on an 11-0 run.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the basketball game. How frustrating is that you get to that point, but you can't just finish out a half or start a half?
Yeah, and again, it's even more when if you give up the baskets, one of the 2 sides of the ball has to save you in that spot. You know what I mean? And they're obviously with Horn, and I thought we did a very good job on him in the second half, and he still makes the big shot with about 4.5 minutes to go. You know what I mean? But then in that stretch of offense, you got to make 2 or 3 baskets. You know what I mean? And a couple of them are right around the rim, and a couple of them are pretty good looks from the 3 with guys that over the last couple weeks have shot much better from the 3. So usually, when the team goes on that 11-0 run, one of the sides of the ball got to bail you out and make it a 6-0 run instead of an 11-0, or 11-5 run. So, and we just have not been able to do that. It's been our Achilles heel in multiple games this year, multiple games.
Coach, what is it about Tulsa that gives your team such difficulty? Is it that zone defense that they run?
Yeah, I think their zone is obviously very good. And it becomes a more controlled game because of that. And we haven't shot the ball well against them. I think probably the 5 for 22 today might have been the best that we've ever shot against them. Right. And the other thing is they have good players. They have good players, and Jariah Horn is obviously a veteran player. Sam Griffin has had a tremendous year for him. Darian Jackson, his numbers sometimes don't wow you, but he's the one who kept that ball alive on that offensive rebound, and he just does all the little things. Obviously he was the sixth man of the year in the league last year. He's a guy that there's not one coach in this league that wouldn't take him. He'd be in every playing group, and he'd play 20 to 25 minutes on every team in this league.
Coach, you guys have more of a break now until your next game than you've had in the last 2 weeks. What are the couple of things you think that you'll zero in on in practice to improve for ahead of ECU?
Yeah. So obviously we got to take the rest of the day and tomorrow off. We've gone 15 straight days, 13 of them with games. And then we got to get back to the practice, obviously shorter at this time of the year, but I think that the three main areas that we need to concentrate on is one, on the defensive end. One, we got to keep doing a good job of guarding the basketball. All right, because in this league, if you can't one-on-one guard the basketball, you're going to be put in difficult situations the entire time. And there's times where you got to push up a little bit more, like on Griffin, you got to push up a little bit more. And then on other times, you got to play just solid heels on the three-point line. Second thing that we got to do is on the offensive end, we got to keep making sure that when we have open court opportunities, we finish plays. We had multiple times today on break situations where we came away with nothing. And it's almost doubled because you play so hard on the defense and you get a steal or a deflection or a stop and a rebound and a good outlet, and now you got an advantage break. 4-on-3, 3-on-2, 5-on-4, whatever the case, you have to get points on that. And we have not been able to do that. Now today, we have 20 points off of 19 turnovers, which is good. But 19 turnovers got to create probably 30 points. You know what I mean? And we're just not able in the open court to either make the right decision or just finish the play. You know what I mean? You can think of just in today's game probably 4 or 5 different times where we get the ball and we're in traffic or not even as much traffic for a layup and we don't finish it. We need to finish those. We need to finish those plays. And then we got to keep doing a good job offensively on moving the ball and sharing the ball. 11 assists on 21 baskets today. That probably you need to be in the 15, 16 range. There's still some times where we're not making the right read, and being able to watch it on film now that we're able to go back in these 6 games and look at those heading into Wednesday. Hopefully those are the 3 areas we improve in.
Coach, you talk about your defense causing the 19 turnovers. Is that a facet that you're going to have your team build off of coming in these next couple of games?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we played one team that doesn't turn the ball over a lot, and that's Tulane. But our other games, we've forced anywhere from 17 to 20 turnovers every game. You know what I mean? And what's interesting, and it goes against logic, but not really as a coach, when we're disciplined on defense and in the right position and playing our defense, we come up with more steals and forced turnovers than when we gamble and get out of position and play for steals. And it's just, again, there's a discipline that you need to play with, and when our guys do that, again, we're much better. Our defensive field goal percentage is not as good as it needs to be, and again, I say that because one of the reasons is because we are forcing so many turnovers. You know what I mean? Our defensive efficiency rate in terms of points per possession is pretty darn good. It's pretty good. But we just got to keep getting better in some of those other areas.
Coach, 3 games in 5.5 days. I'm not going to call it 6 days.
Yeah.
How hard is it to prepare for this last one? I mean, the NBA doesn't do that a lot.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard.
The biggest thing that it's hard, you know, I mean, as a coach, it's, you know, you just stay up and watch film and try to get ready and to prepare a game plan. I thought our defensive game plan designed by the staff was really good. I thought offensively we did what we wanted to do. We got the ball inside. We got the ball in the paint. We had some good drives. You know, we didn't just chuck up threes against the zone. we only turned the ball over 13 times, which, was much less than we did in game one. It's just hard on the guys. You know what I mean? It's just to rev it up again and the play. There's a reason in college basketball you only play 2 games a week. You know what I mean? There's a reason. These guys aren't pros. And you play a preseason tournament, and sometimes you play 3 games in 3 days or 3 games in 4 days, right? But so are the other teams. Tulsa hasn't played this whole week. You know what I mean? They haven't had a game the whole week. East Carolina didn't play this past weekend. You play in the postseason in the conference tournament. Everybody's playing every day. You know what I mean? So you do that, but it's a little more equal footing. At the same time, we talked about it. We wanted to play the games. Guys wanted to play the games. You know what I mean? So is it a factor? Yeah. Is it an excuse? We don't have them. You got to go out and you got to grit it out. You know what I mean? As coaches and as players. And that's why, take a step back, again, outside of 1 game in this 6-game stretch, we're playing much better. You know what I mean? Much, much better. And the worst part is when you're playing better and you're not getting the tangible result. Yeah. So, and that's to our guys' credit. They could have bagged this game easy. You know what I mean? 12 o'clock game. You know what I mean? And they didn't. But then it's on them and on us as a staff and as a program to make sure on Wednesday night on the road that we go out and play with that, and then a little bit more.
Coach, Russell had a good game today, 13 points and 5 offensive boards. Do you think that he had a little more confidence going up against a Tulsa team that didn't quite have someone to match his size?
Well, Adua's pretty big. Their center. He's big and good. He's a good player. He had 13 and 8. He's good. But they play in the zone. And Russell, over the last 2 weeks, has really embraced the physicality of posting deep and seeking contact, holding contact, playing through contact. Unfortunately, his 2 turnovers in the first half, and he had 1 in the second half. I don't remember the 1 in the second half.
I think it was a foul.
And they didn't call it?
Yeah,
That would make sense.
Yeah.
All right? But his 2 turnovers in the first half, he reverted back and caught the ball off the post. He needs to be deep in the post. And he's done a much better job of that during this stretch in particular. And we showed him film of the first game in Tulsa. He's open, but he was open and not seeking contact and holding contact. As big and strong as he is, he can't play in space. He needs to play in contact. And he's gotten much better. And that's why his numbers during this stretch, he's playing his best basketball of his entire life right now. You know what I mean? And he's getting better, and he knows he's upset right now because of the 7 shots he missed. You know what I mean? And we got to get that to 9 of 13 instead of 6 of 13. That's the next step for him, is to finish all those plays. But back to the original question, I think he's getting more confidence going against anybody right now. Because if he works for the position, and our guys are throwing him the ball a lot more. You know what I mean? Our guys are throwing him the ball a lot more. And give our perimeter guys credit, because they're looking into him a lot more than we ever have before.
What's the update that the medical people have given you about Chap and his ankle?
MRI was, just a severe sprain. You know what I mean? So we did a little more just to see why, wasn't as fast. He's chomping at the bit. You know what I mean? We're hopeful for Wednesday. But again, it's the same ankle that cost him a month in the preseason.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. So, and it took him, you miss, it will be, today is 7 days since he did it. So we'll see, he doesn't get tomorrow off. You know what I mean?
Right.
He that's not a day off for him. So he'll be, but again, with Greg and our medical staff, best in the country. They do an unbelievable job. They're here morning, noon, and night with Chap. And in this day and age, what you need is you need your athletes to be completely dedicated and committed to getting back on the court as well and doing everything that they need to do. And there's no question marks on that when it comes to Jameer.
Thanks.
But he is our leading scorer in conference play and our
Right.
second leading rebounder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what's happened is we've had some guys be able to step up, in particular Sorrell. And again, he didn't shoot the ball well tonight, but he played with some moxie out there. You know what I mean? There's only one, you know, I kind of counted. I only had to jump his butt one time on the defensive end, so he had a pretty good day then. You know what I mean? But hopefully now that because of the opportunity, we have some even more depth on the perimeter
Right.
heading into the stretch run.
Thanks, Coach.
All right?
Thanks, Coach.
All good? All right, guys, enjoy your Saturday night.